Hello. I know it's been a while since I posted some videos. There were some things that were going on that I couldn't, that kind of took priority. I got married. And I opened a business called Coindexter's up in Seattle. It's in Greenwood. Check it out if you're ever there. When I got back to doing some of the work that I wanted to do here in the bus, I didn't want to have to focus on a video. I just needed to get some stuff done. So what I did was install these cabinets. That this is going to be basically the kitchen. So today I'm going to be plumbing in this sink. And yeah, to kind of catch you up though, we do have a time lapse of the cabinet build. You can find videos on how to build a cabinet all over YouTube, so I don't think you're really missing anything by not seeing how I did it. But yeah, cut some pieces of wood, put your cabinet stuff in there. This is my first cabinet, and I think that it came out pretty good. And I was just kind of like nailing stuff together. So let's talk about sinks now. This is an undermounted sink. So the countertop is going to be flush with the top of this. You can see that it's recessed a little bit, but the top of it's pretty much flush with the wood. I replaced the drain that we used for a garbage disposal with this standard drain. We're not going to have a garbage disposal on the bus. It's not necessarily good for gray water anyway, to throw a bunch of food into it. But today we're going to be plumbing it, connecting both of these drains together, and then both of them will go into this P-trap and then down the drain. Yeah. Okay, so we got this brass piece that's going to go under here, right under the drain, and the plastic piece and this shinier piece came with the drain. So the way you put it together is like this. You just put the plastic ring on top so that the edge of it goes inside. Then you have this, and just screw it on. Once you find the thread, that is. There we go. Let's just make it look a little nice. There we go. Do that for the other side too. Alright, I don't have all the pieces that I thought that I needed, but I've got a solution. Originally I was going to have two 45s that would go like that. So there would be an extension that comes down to here, but I don't have a piece that can connect these two. So instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this one here and that one in, and then I'll just get a piece that connects those two. And then it'll come down into the P-trap, and the P-trap will come over to here. This will have to be cut off because this is a mistake. But yeah, that'll work. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of this together first, and then we will measure what else needs to be done. The pieces that I know are going in, might as well just do them now. Want to do a quarter turn. Supposedly take some of this. This is ABS I'm working with. So it's nice and clean. Stop dripping. Push it in as much as we can. Okay. This piece. Good. Okay, got my pieces all glued in, cemented in. I think that'll work out just fine. Next we have to install the P-trap. That'll go right there and connect to this pipe. This way. Alright, all of my pieces are in and connected and glued together. The cool thing about the way that I have this set up is if you just unscrew this, this will pop out and you can clean out your P-trap that way or winterize. So P-trap is in, goes down into the drain, which leads to the gray water tank. So kitchen sink is now plumbed in for all drainage. It's another cold morning in the bus, and I realize that I'm unhappy with how I plumbed the kitchen sink. I would like to have an air admittance valve on there. I kind of went back and forth between just putting one air admittance valve in for the whole system or one big vent, and now I've decided I want to do both. So this is the P-trap for my kitchen sink, and this is the drain line. The P-trap is basically a little water-filled U-shaped piece of pipe that prevents gases and smells from traveling backwards up the pipe and into your living spaces. So it's important to have one, but it's also important that air be allowed to enter the drain line in order to allow water to drain without siphoning out the water that's in the P-trap, because if the P-trap is empty, you don't have that seal anymore. I kind of kicked around what I was going to be doing to allow air into the system for a while, and ultimately decided that this is I'm going to use an air admittance valve here under the sink. It'll sit about here in this position up above this pipe, which will it's a one-way air valve that lets air come in and doesn't let air go or water go back out. So in theory, it should allow air into the system when the pipe is draining, which will allow for much smoother draining, no glugging, and it will keep my P-traps wet. The other thing that can happen if you don't have air in there, if you don't have a way for the drain lines to take in air, is that it can siphon off P-traps in other areas. So I've got three, or I will have three. I've got one under the shower. There's going to be one in for this bathroom pipe, and then I've got the one under the kitchen sink. So if this is draining too fast, it could, in theory, start pulling the P-traps out, all the water out of the P-traps on those other two fixtures. So this air admittance valve will go a long way toward preventing that. I will also be adding just a straight up vent for that end of the system, basically the plumbing after the P-traps, that'll go up through the ceiling there, and if I'm lucky I'll get to that today. But for now, let's get this part of it done. So for starters, I cut a gap in this horizontal piece of pipe, which is where this T is going to go, and the air admittance valve will be attached to a pipe that will be attached to this hole right there. So easy enough. Now I just got to glue it in. All right, I got my T in. I basically just pulled out my P-trap, which it's designed to be pulled out, glued the joints together, and then reattached my P-trap. And that's a pretty nice tight seal. It is leaking, or it's dripping some glue. I used maybe a little too much on that one joint, but it's good. It'll be solid. That'll work. Okay, nothing is actually attached. I just kind of like roughed everything in. Since this is not the same material as this, I'm going to be using my special glue for multi-purpose PVC, CPVC, and ABS to join those two pieces, and then some plumber's putty or plumber's tape around these threads and thread it right into place, and that should be a nice tight seal. and we'll do what I needed to do. Okay, all the glued in pieces are now glued in. Now I just got to put some Teflon tape on the threads of this, screw it in, and there we go, installed. Alright, I got my little corner sink and I did some measurements and kind of put it in place. Figured out about where I want it to tap into this drain line. So this is the drain going down into the gray water tank. Well, it actually goes down to a pipe that leads to the gray water tank under there. Then we have a horizontal pipe and it comes up to right about here. It should be on the other side. And that is where the sink is going to drain into here. Basically, we've got the sink will be set up so that downspout goes into here, and then this will connect like that, just like that. And then this here is going to be a vent. This is nothing. These are actually broken pieces, but now I got to drill a hole through the roof, which always makes me nervous, to install a vent for this system. So let's do that. Alright, I grabbed the straightest thing I could find to help me mark on the ceiling where I need to go through. So that's placed right above where the pipe is. Comes straight up to here, so that's about where I want my hole. Alright, now I've done it. Got a nice hole in the ceiling. Ugh. Interesting thing I discovered while I was doing this, I was just kind of paying attention to as I went through all these layers. In here it's nice and warm. I got my little space heater going, and after every layer it got colder and colder. The outside metal is pretty cold, but everything's dry. It's nice. Blue skies today. Okay, I cut a piece of ABS that fits in that area that I cut, and this is the vent that I'm going to be putting on the top there. So I struggle sometimes figuring out the order of doing things on this project, and this is one of those times where it's like kind of important what order I do things in. For this pipe, I was going to put the vent in first, but in order to put the vent in first, I wouldn't be able to seal around this pipe right where it penetrates the roof under the vent, which would make it more prone to being compromised by the weather. So what I'm going to do is actually finish out the inside first, glue all these pieces together that are just kind of clipped together, roughed in, and then I will do the cover outside. So let's glue all these pieces together exactly as they look right now. Go. Alright, everything's glued together. I've got my my hole punch, my vent cap right there. Hello? Yep. So now I want to seal around this edge here before I put my vent cap on. Okay, the vent's on. Sun is down or going down. And that's my plumbing setup for the bathroom sink. Kind of a pain in the ass, but I think it'll be good once we install the P-trap and the sink itself. Alright, so I have the drainage for my sink all plumbed in. It's all attached. This is the vent that goes all the way up and out. And here's the inlet where the sink is going to attach. This is the P-trap. So it'll be something like this, I think. And the sink, I gotta kind of put the wall in first, but the sink will go right here. And I think that's lined up pretty good. All right, that's it.